Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and I am continuing on with my Crafter's Companion 2021 Advent Calendar makes. We are on day 3 and behind today's door is this lovely stencil, which I know is a little bit hard to see right now, but as I start to stencil out this panel, which is a full A2 size panel, so 4 1/4 by 5.5, I'm going to be orienting this landscapes on my card, but really the orientation ultimately at the end won't really matter because you'll be able to turn this in whichever direction you want. Since I'm going to use this stencil, even though it's only about 2 by 2, I'll be using it to stencil the full panel. I only do want the leaf portions or stems on this particular stencil, even though there are some flower buds that are part of the design. I'm trying very carefully to avoid stenciling over those little flower buds. There are 2 of them. And if you're worried about accidentally stenciling over those, if you wanted to try to create a similar style card, you can always use some low-tack tape to just tape over those 2 buds. That way your brush or whatever you're using to stencil with can't actually stencil through it. So that's a way of just masking that off if you want. But I'm using a fairly small finger dauber, which is the style that actually has little bristles, and as opposed to a sponge dauber. Love these. I don't have a name brand one. I just picked it up on Amazon. You can find a lot of listings for them. And I'm using 2 different distress inks. So one is a distress oxide in the, I think it's lemon citron. And then the other is a darker green. And that one actually is just a distress ink, but only because I don't have an oxide in this color. And that one is Mowed Lawn. I really like the 2 of these colors combined, and having that slight variation in greens I think is really nice. It gives a little bit more depth, a little bit more interest to the stencil design, because I'm not paying super close attention to really trying to get shadowing per se, but I just wanted to have a little bit of a difference in color. And I'm using the Mowed Lawn very sparingly too, so I just kind of dab over occasionally into the Mowed Lawn. And as I twist and turn the stencil, I'm just trying to work from one side all the way over to the other side, and I want to try to not have any weird gaps in the center. So I always work from the center outward. It's easier to fill in gaps along the border than it is in the center. And so as a final little touch here, I'll go ahead and just sort of distress the edges a little bit by giving it a little bit of a vignette. And I'm just going to keep going round and round until I get nice and equal coverage, because I was a little heavy-handed in some areas, and so I always feel like I need to kind of go back, and I'm not looking to make everything super even, but I don't want any areas that really stand out because I've gone a little too heavy-handed, kind of like on that left side there. Generally though, I like to try to keep the corners darker and a little bit more sort of heavy in the corners, but you can kind of go with whatever kind of suits your design aesthetic, and be sure to always clean off your stencil. I'll probably clean this off with a little bit of soap later, but I wanted to at least wipe it off with some water. And that's a really fast, quick background to make. And the rest of this card's going to go really fast too. I'm going to create, not quite an eclipse card, because I'm going to add a backing plate to really make it easy to really read the text. And so I'm going to actually bring in a thanks die set from Tonic Studios. I tried to see if I had one from Crafter's Companion, but I don't have one that is in the scale that I want for this card. And so I ended up choosing this one. And what's nice about this set is you actually have the word die going across as well as up and down. So you've got 2 different options for the sentiment. So I'm going to take the inner die and cut the word thanks out of the pattern paper that we just created. And what's going to be nice about this is you'll have that pattern sort of continue on, and so it's almost like an eclipse card, but because this die set also has the shadow, I've die cut that out of black, and I think just having that black accent against that bright green really makes this stand out and makes it really easy to read the sentiment as well. If I were to just kind of cut that thanks die out of foam and then prop it up on foam and make it a true eclipse card, I think it would have been hard to read. So I'm gonna go with this method, and I'm gonna go ahead and glue my thanks word onto the backing plate or the shadow layer. And then when I go to position this onto my card, I'm gonna try my best to line it up so that it matches the surrounding pattern, as if, the pattern continues, because it should, since we did die cut it straight from that main panel. And so I'm gonna get that glued down, and then that's pretty much our card complete. So even though this was a small stencil, you can definitely use it to make any size background panel that you like. And I just added a few Nouveau drops in ebony black, and that finishes off my card. I hope that you like this card, and please come back tomorrow to see what's behind day number 4. Thank you so much, and until tomorrow, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye!